Well, good morning. As I've shared the last 2 weeks, we will be hosting these public safety briefings to keep residents apprised of crime in our city and exactly what we are doing about it to address it. Our public health emergency resolution allowed us to expedite city processes that usually take weeks or even months. We're cutting through the red tape to address crime in our city. We've been able to quickly create and post police department social worker positions and street intervention specialists within the community programs department to assist in our outreach efforts. We are still accepting applications online, and we hope to make those hires soon. We also want to take time to let you know how diligently we are working to get the funds on the streets. Negotiations are underway to get the awarded programs up and running. That's the close to $2 million that we have allocated and awarded to 10 additional groups as it relates to what we're doing to address crime from a systemic and a root cause perspective. We are grateful that our city attorney's office has really taken the lead to get these contracts underway throughout the negotiations period and should be finalized within the next few days. We look forward to continue the good work of mentorship, training, conflict resolution, as well as hospital-based intervention, mental health services, and more to ensure that we are addressing every systemic and root cause issue to crime that we see happen each and every day. We've heard from various churches that are interested in our community-based approach to addressing crime in their neighborhoods. And I want to say again how grateful we are to the faith community that's been reaching out, who are getting engaged, who are focusing on ministry outside of their sanctuary walls to ensure that we are addressing crime from a systemic and root cause issue, that we are saving generations, particularly our youth and our young adults. We'll be announcing more community conversations that we're calling courageous conversations. I want to take time to recognize Ms. Laura Martin and her team that have been working on these organizations and working on these courageous conversations that we've had. We've already had one at Second Baptist Church on John Barrow, which was a great community conversation, close to 3 hours long, gave great feedback. We were able to share what we're doing. They were able to share additional issues that we can be focused on as well as we work collaboratively together. Also want to give a shout out to City Director Kathy Peck, who hosted another courageous conversation with our police department and community this past Saturday at the Trios restaurant, and it was very well attended as well. What we want to do is continue to ensure that not only are we focused on proactive policing, but also prevention, intervention, and treatment programming to ensure that we focus on the systemic root causes and save our generations. As we are continuing to stress the importance on economics and addressing crime in our neighborhoods with low crime, people have jobs. At the end of the day, when you see a safe neighborhood, you see a neighborhood that has access to jobs, access to capital, access to understanding financial literacy, and the economic and socioeconomic issues are not an issue. And so what we want to focus on is the true job training, not only job training, but also access to jobs, access to capital. And so that's the reason why we're so focused on what we're doing, strengthening our relationship with our Department of Workforce Investment Board, which is both a state, federal, local partnership with W.J. Montague. And so that process is an organization called Youth Build. We're going to be uber focused on how do we strengthen the Youth Build to ensure that we are focused on more apprenticeships and jobs training within the city of Little Rock to ensure that we get more jobs available to our youth and our young adults. And so we're grateful for that partnership there. Also want to take time for the youth in our city who are in need of a summer job. We are bringing back our summer youth programming where we will have up to 600 jobs for our youth. Clearly, during the COVID-19 pandemic, that had to cease for a number of different reasons, and so we felt that it was imperative to bring it back. And so if you are a youth in the city of Little Rock and you're in need of a job, and if you, we definitely can budget up to 600. We want to make sure that we have 600 jobs for our youth to ensure that they're being active, productive, and they also are being paid to ensure that they are learning not only soft skills but hard skills to prepare them for their future. And so please be on the lookout. It's already on our website for those job training programs. Another part of the 10 organizations that we funded through the close to $2 million from the American Rescue Plan Act, we have a day labor program. Part of that day labor program is gearing up to provide day jobs for individuals who need legitimate work at a fair, livable wage. And so we're very excited that the American Rescue Plan dollars that we are funding is going towards this day labor program. This progress has been made in addition to our continued law enforcement efforts. As many of you know, last week we experienced a double homicide and what is believed to be a domestic violence incident. I'll ask Chief Humphrey to give more details about it, but when we talk about domestic violence, I think many times we think about it as a marriage relationship, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, what have you. Many times when we say domestic, it's also acquaintance, meaning that the individual or individuals know each other before they commit a crime. And so it's very imperative that not only that we focus on domestic violence, but we also focus on conflict resolution. And so the issue many times, particularly with our youth and young adults, is instead of, when I was growing up, you kind of utilize your hands when you have a conflict resolution. And so now, instead of utilizing your hands, we have our children that are utilizing militarized weapons to bring things to untimely and tragic death. And that's something that we have to continue to focus on from a conflict resolution. And so we're going to continue to focus on our targeted patrols, our increased presence. We're going to focus on the sweeps that what we've been handling with our loitering experiences and things of that nature. But in addition to the proactive policing, it has to be prevention, intervention, and treatment programming to address the systemic and root causes. But also, if you see something, say something. Many times we can address issues from a domestic violence standpoint, and that's one of the topics that we're going to be talking about today is not only our youth and young adults, but also how domestic violence plays a role in our uptick in violence. With that being said, I'm going to ask Chief Humphrey to give a few more details as it relates to public safety. Chief Humphrey.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Before we get started, I'd like to ask that we take a moment of silence for Arkansas Department of Corrections Sergeant Joshua Cadell, who was killed in the line of duty on Monday in Mamel. And also, I'd ask for us to take a moment of silence for our two recent domestic violence victims, Ms. Martina Edmondson and Mr. Eric Rounds. And also, many of you may be aware of, we had a motorcycle officer who was injured yesterday in an accident. And I'd ask you to keep he and his family in your thoughts and prayers also. That's Officer Fran Watkins. And so I would ask for you to keep him in your prayers. Today we want to focus on homicides and as related to domestic violence. 4 of our homicides this year have been domestic violence related. In 2021, 8 of our homicides were related to domestic violence. In 2021, our domestic violence unit, domestic violence advocacy unit, crime victims advocacy unit, worked with well over 4,000 victims. This also includes the families and other members. Also, so far in 2022, we have worked with over 400 victims. And this includes the 4 families affected by domestic violence this year as far as homicides. I want to provide a definition of what the state statute is regarding to domestic violence. It's physical harm, bodily injury, assault, or the infliction of fear or imminent physical harm, bodily injury, assault between family or household members. And household means spouse, former spouse, a parent, a child, including any minor residing in the household, persons related by blood within the 4th degree of a consanguinity, persons who are presently or have been residing or cohabitating together, and persons who presently or in the past have been dating someone. So I wanted to get that clear because sometimes there's a confusion on what domestic violence actually is. And so that's the state statute. As the mayor said earlier, the majority of our homicides, the victim and suspect have known each other. That's an acquaintance relationship. The domestic violence homicides are related to the statute. They fit the statute, what the statute says. So I just wanted to clarify that. We continue to initiate proactive initiatives by all of our officers. I think we have one of the best victims advocacy groups. We have an amazing partner with Ms. Joyce Rayner and her organization, Healing Hearts. You're gonna hear from her shortly. You're gonna hear from Candy Haas, who is our Victim Services Coordinator, about the hard work that they do. It's very rewarding, but it's also emotionally draining. But thank goodness we do have individuals who really care about what's going on in our community, especially with our victims of domestic violence. But I want you to, the Little Rock police officers that serve the streets of this city take domestic violence very seriously. We're taking reports, we're doing investigations, and we have a program called Handle with Care that our school resource officers, our OK officers, and our GEMS officers that are assigned to the schools are utilizing. And basically what this is, if we have a victim, we have an incident that involves a child, whether they were directly the victim or they witnessed any type of violence, we are able to immediately get with that counselor at the school so that we can immediately start this child with the resources that they need to come to survival, to be a survivor. This is an amazing program. We've been doing this for a while now. This was instituted by our officers who felt that we needed to do more. And so this has been a very beneficial program. Also, keep in mind that our state has strict mandates when it comes to domestic violence investigation. There's Laura's card, and there's also a lethality assessment that our officers utilize. And once that lethality assessment is completed and it determines that there is a high probability that someone would be a victim or has been a victim, that information is passed on to our victims advocates. So at this time, I would like to bring up Ms. Joyce Rayner, and then following Ms. Rayner will be Ms. Candy Haas, and following Ms. Candy Haas, Assistant Chief Crystal Young Haskins will speak on behalf of the operational part of what we're doing to reduce violence in the city. Ms. Rayner.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning. My name is Joyce Rayner, and I am the Executive Director for the Center for Healing Hearts and Spirits. But today I stand before you as a former victim and a 21-year survivor of violent crime and a service provider here in Little Rock, Arkansas. I am representing mothers, fathers, grandmothers, and grandfathers, siblings, children, friends and co-workers of individuals who have lost their loved ones to violence. More importantly, violent crimes that relates to gun crimes, domestic violence, and the list go on and on. I represent parents who are wondering whether they will ever feel a sense of normalcy again. One who believe that the community, the city, has forgotten their sons and daughters. As a survivor, I know the importance of connecting trauma-filled communities with direct victim service to assist them on the road to recovery. We work with the LRPD and other law enforcement agencies assisting families with direct services that ran around the gamut of funeral assistance, mental health referrals, and group support. Over the past year alone, I have personally received phone calls, texts, emails from the chief and his staff referring a mother or a grandmother who have lost a grandchild or a child or a daughter with multiple children. The list has been long over these past 12 months. So I want to say to our community, this is my personal appeal. It's past time that we be passive where it comes to this violence. It's time that we get active and not just be reactive all the time, because this violence affects us all. We can all be a part of the solution. When you see something, the mayor just said, say something. Participate in community meetings. Let your voices be heard. Have those tough conversations with those family members. You know who they are. Because tomorrow, violence could be at your door. You might be the one who's receiving that call that no mother wants to hear. So to all our parents, our grandparents, our children, our families, your loved ones have not been forgotten. There are cases, some of them may not be solved, but they are not cold. We at our center will never forget.
Good morning. I'm Candy Hawes, and I am the Victim Services Program Coordinator with the Little Rock Police Department. With our police department, we have 8 members of our victim services staff. Most of my staff is here today. What we like to do is assist all victims of violent crime. As the chief said, we work very closely with domestic violence victims. Last year, with well over 4,000 victims of domestic violence, them and their family members. What we like to do is try and assist them through what is a very difficult time for them, helping them make decisions on their safety for not only themselves, but whatever loved ones or family members they may have. Most importantly, what we want to do is try and get them to a safe place. We don't want to have to work with their loved ones, with their mothers, with their fathers, as Ms. Rayner said, when a homicide has happened due to domestic violence. We want to try and help them find those services when they can at the beginning before it becomes deadly for them. One of the things that we do as victim services staff is we have specialists that work with our bilingual community members. We also have specialists that are specifically assigned to the LGBTQIA+ community, our elderly community, and then we have one specialist that only works with domestic violence. That's all she does, is assist those victims of domestic violence. Those lethality forms that patrol officers complete, we get those every day. We look through those and see what concerns each victim has. Then we respond to that victim directly, either by telephone or in person, letting them know what resources are available in the community, like those from Center for Healing Hearts and Spirits and other resources that may be available to them. Victims can always contact us through our helpline at 501-918-HELP. That's 501-918-4357. Thank you.
Good morning, and I am Assistant Chief Crystal Young Haskins, and I am over our Field Services Bureau. Right there. I want to echo what the Chief said a moment ago about the line of duty death that we had this week. Sergeant Joshua Caudell with the Arkansas Department of Corrections. My heart goes out to him. He's paid the ultimate price to keep Arkansas safe, and so I honor his service, and I'm thinking of his family, his co-workers, and the rest of the law enforcement community who is saddened by the loss of his life. I solicit your prayers also for Officer Watkins, who was in the accident on yesterday while working, and so it was a duty-related accident, and so he's got a long road to recovery, and we will support him every step along that journey. I would also like to thank the women and the men of the Little Rock Police Department. They've worked hard these past 59 days to also include other city departments that have partnered with us, our local, state, and federal partners, everybody in collaboration to reduce violent crime in our city. I'm going to provide you an update about our Field Services Bureau and the work that we do every day. This is your uniformed officers, the 3 patrol divisions, and then Special Operations, who is a support division to our field officers. I'm limited in providing a lot of information because we do have ongoing investigations that are currently taking place, as well as if we were to share a lot of our operational strategies, that would put personnel that are working in the field in harm's way, and I would never do that. But I can tell you what we've done thus far. I do want to remind you all of an open and ongoing investigation into an officer who was fired upon on January the 5th. And that investigation is ongoing. He was on duty and working in the field. And I say that to say this, is that our officers are running into the call of danger every day, trying to either prevent, disrupt, or apprehend individuals that are engaged in criminal activity. Little Rock is the hub of the metropolitan complex, the Central Arkansas Metropolitan Complex, and we face numerous challenges trying to meet the demands of our growing city, both residential demands, because our city is growing, all of the annexations that we've had, and also the economic developments that we've had. That grows the city and that increases our calls for service. And so we're trying to meet those demands every day. People travel into the city to work, enjoy our entertainment venues, to learn and to seek treatment. In the first 59 days, January and February, we answered over 24,981 calls for service. It's a lot of calls. It's a slight uptick from our numbers in 2021, and if you were to average those out, that's about 423 calls per day. We've conducted approximately 1,807 traffic stops. Not all of those traffic stops have resulted in a traffic citation because our officers do have the discretion to issue warnings. We've made approximately 1,173 arrests, and within those total arrests, 314 of those were felonies. We've seized approximately 125 illegal crime guns. And I want to make sure that you all are aware of what we consider a crime gun. And that's a gun that is illegally possessed by a felon. The gun itself is actually stolen and possessed by an individual, or a gun that was used in the commission of a crime. Our officers have initiated 270 officer-initiated citizen contacts. Those contacts are geared towards plain view activity, follow-ups to incidents that have taken place before, or a citizen's complaint, or they're just there to build rapport with our community members. So 270 of those already. Those contacts took us to Centennial Park on the 12th of February, and we know the history for Centennial Park. The two community forums that we had with Second Baptist and with Trio's Restaurant, and then St. Mark Baptist Church on last Saturday for cleanup in the 12th Street corridor. As I close, I would like to thank the numerous neighborhood associations, coalitions, the board of directors, the business associations, owners, clergy members, apartment management, community groups, advocates, and just concerned citizens who have partnered with us to solve complex problems in the city. Their partnerships have yielded information sharing that we have used to develop a course of action to address those concerns. You have a police department that's working hard despite many challenges, and I want to echo what the mayor and what Joyce has said before me. If you see something, we need you to say something so that the police department can do something. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief Haskins. Definitely appreciate you and Chief Humphrey's leadership, of course, the men and women of the Little Rock Police Department. I also want to take this time to share appreciation to Ms. Candy and her entire team who's here with us today. You often don't get thanked enough for the work that you're doing. You truly are serving in that golden hours of need for a family when they're looking for strength and comfort, and you're providing that strength and comfort. So on behalf of the city of Little Rock, I want to say appreciation to you all, and also to Ms. Joyce Rayner, who has been a tireless advocate for victims, being a survivor herself, but taking that pain and turning it into promise for our city. So just thank you so much, Ms. Rayner. Before we come to a close and then go to Q&A as we have done for the past few weeks, just again, today is again meant to share exactly what we are doing. Many times residents aren't aware, and so we deem it to be very important that our residents understand what the men and women of the Little Rock Police Department is doing to combat crime. We want to share their appreciation because they've continued to do a superb job in addressing crime, reducing crime, and understanding that with being a growing city, a city of 203,000 in the top 125, 150 cities across the nation, we experience different growing challenges. part of that aspect. But not only that, they're doing the work. We as a community have to continue to have an all-hands-on-deck approach. That's the reason why we're so laser-focused on addressing systemic root causes to crime, to prevent it from even happening, to ensure that we save a generation and generations. But not only that, is understanding that we are working to instill hope. We're focused on a holistic approach on how we prevent and engage our residents to ensure that hope is instilled, to prevent the even thought of picking up a gun, the thought of committing a crime in our city, no matter where it is. And so we are grateful to the men and women of the Little Rock Police Department, and we'll now take time to answer a few questions.
Mayor, you just announced that the city
Yes, again, thank you so much. We are working to bring this back. As we know, COVID-19 had a lot of different things that we had to react to, and so it wasn't necessarily prudent at that point in time to have our summer youth programming as it relates to our jobs. And so we are bringing it back to address, to ensure, number one, to ensure that our youth have something to do that's productive, that there's no idle time. Growing up in Little Rock, I understand if you got a lot of time on your hands, you can figure some things out. And so that's the reason why we want to ensure that our youth figure some things out in a very productive fashion. And so that's the reason why we want to help teach soft skills, hard skills, to inspire hope by having a job here within the city so it can be the next engineer, the next lawyer, the next banker, the next electrician, the next tradesperson, the next entrepreneur. We want to instill that hope right now, and we believe by having these jobs will be very helpful to ensure that, well, we know 600 youth will be occupied. These 600 youth will be doing something productive. They'll be learning a new aspect in life throughout the summer, and we hope that instills something with them as well. So thank you. Next question.
Mr. Mayor, I'm trying to get my mind, and I think what the students are bringing is domestic violence. Okay? You know, why all that is gun goes at home, a wife, family, or something, like, but it sounds like the city needs to be focusing on a larger scale.
Sure. Well, I think the general thought when someone thinks about domestic violence, they think it's a husband and wife issue. They think it's a boyfriend and girlfriend issue. They think it's a girlfriend-girlfriend issue, boyfriend-boyfriend issue. Whatever the issue is, they think it's something in close relationship many times. But domestic violence is literally, if you know that individual, not only in an intimate way, but in a way that's very familiar. And that is what we consider domestic violence. Many of the crimes that we are seeing is not happening overnight. We understand. So if you see something, you say something from that context. And clearly, Chief Humphrey and Ms. Candy can talk through that. But again, as Chief Humphrey had already shared, it's an acquaintance standpoint.
So, in a follow-up, if the youth victim services numbers, 1% is focused solely on domestic violence, maybe we can use standard, is that not the choice? What will be done to help reach and stop this domestic violence?
Well, I would share with you, there's always room for more. And we look at that daily from a budgetary standpoint. Again, Ms. Candy does, and her entire team who's with us today, they do a lot. We're grateful for their work, and we always want to do more. And that's a budgetary standpoint as we look to do more. And so as of right now, based on the knowledge that we're receiving from our team, we have what we need. But if there's ever an instance that we need to do more, that's something that we will strongly look at. I can tell you there's been very few times that the Little Rock Police Department has asked me for something and they received the answer of no. I don't think they've ever received the answer of no in 3 years. And so I think if there's a need, we always want to fill it.
Mr. Mayor, this is a question might be directed to you or Chief Humphrey. We all hear about all the crime that you guys are doing to curb it, but also talk about the success of all the things that you guys have done as well. Because I don't think people really hear that enough. You guys just as 1,173 with 314 arrests. I mean, that's a lot of, things, that's a lot of being proactive as you guys have been talking about. Just talk about why it's so important also to let people know about the success versus all the things you guys are doing to do better.
No, thank you so much. I think, and definitely, Chief Humphrey, Chief Haskins, please fill in with any additional details. Our police department does a phenomenal job. When crime happens in our city, those individuals are captured. Point blank, period. I believe last week, Assistant Chief Wayne Bewley, at the point in time last week, I know numbers change between days, but at the point in time last week, our capture rate for February, at the end of February, was somewhere around 60%. The national average is 64%. That's pretty good. And so we need to understand that our officers, if you commit crime in our city, we will catch you. That's not the issue at all. What we're trying to do is prevent crime from even happening by addressing the systemic root causes. So that's number one. I think already this week, to date, 59 days in our city, we've already captured somewhere around 125 illegal guns. Illegal guns is an issue in our city. That's the reason why we've engaged the ATF. That's the reason why we have our federal partnerships with the Get Rock Task Force. That's the reason why not only do we have the Get Rock Task Force that really seized a lot of things last week, if you go to social media and get those particular stats. But in addition to our Get Rock Task Force, we also have Operation Ceasefire that last year, at the point in time, and last summer, we were somewhere around 22% uptick in crime, but it was driven down because of the leadership of Little Rock Police Department by engaging our street crimes unit of 25 member officers who are solely focused on proactive policing to work additional things that we're seeing to address the crime. It went down from 22% to 12%. They are doing the work, and we're grateful for the men and women of Little Rock Police Department.
Can you speak to the 60%, 60% probably the most recent arrest, but you mentioned that 64% clearance rate, and obviously the homicide detection is working around the clock. But when we get into this like weekend, there are numerous homicides, and these detectives are going from one homicide to the next. They don't have the opportunity to effectively investigate. Is that one of the conversation amongst the chief for you guys? Looking at having more homicide detectives, obviously when it comes down to money, but to try to maintain the arrest, because last year it was somewhere around 50%.
Chief Humphrey.
Mitch, I will tell you that you know this police department very well, and you know we have all hands on deck. And it's unfair to say that they're running from call to call, because you'd have to understand our rotational process. So it's not just homicide detectives. Everyone in major case steps up and takes on responsibilities. We also have officers of property crime. So when you're a detective in the Little Rock Police Department, you are asked to wear many hats. And so as far as staffing, of course, we could always use more, but then at the same time, we have so many officers who are so multi-talented that we're not having, I don't know where you're getting that from, but we don't have officers just running from call to call to call. Everybody comes in and helps when necessary. And you know, Mitch, I tell you, one of the other things is that this is a large urban city, and you're going to have crime. And so it shouldn't, I don't like to hear people make it seem like Little Rock is the only city that's having this type of crime. Our officers are well trained. We have meetings on a regular basis. The officers know what their assignments are. Nobody's complaining. They signed up. Their main focus is we want to get the bad guys off the street, and that's what they're doing. So it's kind of unfair to ask that question, and because the guys are doing a really good job.
Chief, sorry, kind of talk about how various other homicides have been, domestic violence, and obviously domestic violence is very hard to, say basically it's hard to go into a situation if you don't know what you're walking into. Kind of just talk about how challenging it is for the officers.
One of the most dangerous calls for a police officer is a domestic violence call, because there's the unknown. You don't know if the suspect is still there. You don't know if it'll end up in a barricaded person situation. The fact of it is, a lot of times the victims will not cooperate, and it's basically out of fear. Think about this: if that's your sole source of support, You don't want to see that in many cases. You don't want to see that person arrested or taken away. That might be your child's father. That might be your child's mother. So that's a difficult part. You know, you hear about blood is thicker than water, and that we find that out sometimes when we're doing these cases. The other thing is some of these cases, we have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. I wish we did have a way to scope homes and determine there's a domestic issue here, a violence issue here. But unfortunately, there are those calls that we have no idea there's any type of violence going on in the house until something tragic happens. And these type of calls sometimes happen just out of passion, where someone just loses it and commits the crime. So the cases that we know about, the cases that Candy and her staff knows about, the officers know about, we enforce them to the fullest. And we have people that are going getting protective orders sometimes. We don't even know they're getting those protective orders until they say. So it takes all of us, see something, say something.
There was a couple of boardrooms ago that all
Yes, part of one of the reasons why we have this focus, because we understand from a procurement process with what the city has to do from compliance issues, we have to ensure that we get certain I's dotted, T's crossed, but we don't need to take months to do it. And so we were able, because of this process now, is to really cut through that red tape. And so we were able to fund 10 organizations that focus on conflict resolution, a day labor program, hospital-based intervention, other social issues that create the environment for crime, and that gives us the ability to address the root causes of it. So that's number one. One of the things that we'll be doing is a rolling process as it relates to RFQs for additional funds for additional programming. One of the things that we do know is while there's been this great focus on 11 to 24, we also want to focus on younger ages as well. But as it relates to domestic violence, we will be having a domestic violence RFQ coming out sometime in March through Mr. Michael Sanders, who's our Director of Office of Neighborhood Safety, as well as Dana Doucette, who is our Director of Community Programs. And actually, we've had a couple meetings already with some domestic violence providers who are already working to be prepared for the new RFQ that's coming out. Now, we're going to continue to assess clearly from as you know, I'm a former banker, we got to assess things from a financial standpoint. But again, the police department is our top priority. They represent more than half of our city's budget. We're going to do whatever it takes to ensure that the police department has what they need, but we'll continue to monitor that on a week-by-week basis. One last question. How many? We can get you that information. I don't know off the top of my head. Thank you so much. Everyone have a great day.